He weighed in officially at 155.7 pounds. Fighting out of Dublin, Ireland, Dylan the Nuke Tuke.
So like my last amateur fight, I was 18 and I fought a 28-year-old. You know what I mean? He was 8-0.
Is that just because nobody would be?
Oh, nobody could touch me. Like I was 6-0 at that point. He was 8-0.
See, the thing is though, if
Aaron McGuire, the MMA Cork head coach, made him retire and all after it. Like, you know what I mean? I gave him a
Because
bad.
you just gave him a beating.
I gave him a bad.
Was that
one,
because you were in the gym at a young age and you'd picked up so much skill from very good coaches like Kavanagh is one of the best in?
Not even. It was the bodies, like. So, like, John, obviously, when John's awful now, like, because I don't think he really cares, like, you know what I mean? But back when I was younger, John was, like, hands-on. Not quite as much as Jimmy, like, because Jimmy's, like, fucking autistic to it, like, you know what I mean? But, like, he was there all the time. You'd never see him miss a session. You'd never see him kind of, like, not be around, like, you know what I mean? And then just kind of as Conor went on and stuff, you'd kind of see him disappear a little bit more. Maybe he wouldn't come and coach you for your fight, you know what I mean? He'd send Paddy to corner you. Because on my fights that I was cornered by was Paddy Houlihan cornered me.
So did he step up into that role now?
Yeah.
Paddy Houlihan? And then
Paddy's gone. So now it's Dave Roach.
He went to his own gym, didn't he?
It's Dave Roach now, yeah. He has SBG, no, not SBG, sorry. He has Tala D24 MMA. So it's like not SBG at all. And then there's KF as well, which is Chris Fields.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the older school guys just have their own names now because they disbanded from the organisation kind of thing, like, you know what I mean? Because they didn't agree with the way it was going or whatever. I think SBG wanted to charge them $5,000 to use the name, and
like an affiliation
yeah,
fee. It's a lot of money.
What's the point?
When Paddy and Chris were kind of like, we built the name, like, you know what I mean? So they were like, especially Paddy and Chris, like, because they were there from the forefront. So it was kind of like,
this is much ours.
yeah, why are we paying for a name? Like, and I just couldn't imagine. Like, I know if I turned around to James tomorrow and I was like, I don't want to fight, but can I open up a higher level? He'd be like, yeah, no problem. You know what I mean? I'm going to help you with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not letting you do it on your own, you little idiot. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, but so I think it was just that they wanted to be a part of it without having to pay for it, like, which was fair. You know what I mean? But it just didn't happen that way. And now they're all on their own, and I think the best thing about it now is they benefit fully. It's 100% theirs. You know what I mean? So any work that, any time that, like, say Sean O'Bannon is successful, it's not SBG, it's Paddy.
Mm-hmm.
Paddy done this, and now Chris obviously were having like well, he got Ian Gary to where he was, like, you know what I mean? So that was his success alone, like, you know what I mean? So I think it's big to say that on your own when you're on your own name, like, you know what I mean?
So you were saying, like, it was the actual skill quality in the gym,
Yeah.
rather than the coaches. Because am I right in saying that you were sparring as a young boy? Because I remember you telling me you were sparring Conor and he's going hell for leather on you as a young kid.
I broke my nose when I was 16. So I had done 2 sessions that day, and Conor had done 2, and he was upstairs rolling. He used to do gi rounds all the time. Conor was mad for the gi when he was in the purple belt, always in the gi. We used to just copy Gunny, remember, because whatever Gunny done, we done, like, you know what I mean? He comes downstairs and I'm sparring Lee Hammond and Alex Brophy, and I'm getting the better of the boys, but they're the younger lads of SBG, and I've only came about 6 months. So Conor comes downstairs, sees us sparring, and goes, Dylan, I'll go with you. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, Conor McGregor wants to spar me. So I run upstairs to get me sparring gear, and Chris Fields goes to me, go home. And I'm like, what? Chris Fields goes, don't spar him. Go home now. Put your gear on, get your clothes on, and go home. He's going to kill you. And I was like,
why?
I was like, surely he won't. I was like, surely he won't. I went downstairs and done 5 7-minute rounds with Conor with just sparring gloves on. 2 weeks out from the Holloway fight.
The small 7-ounce gloves.
Small sparring gloves, Fairtex ones, the little baby ones. And he poked the fuck out of me for 7 rounds. Broke me nose, cut me eye. I had a little cut here. My nose was still smashed. You can see me septum. That's Conor, like, you know what I mean? Me and Richie Smullen both have the same thing, Conor effect. I think he was annoyed because he didn't drop me. I was fighting back as well. I was only 16, like, but it was a little tough towny kid getting battered by his dad on a daily, so it was nothing to me, like, you know what I mean? I was used to hiding. But then that's what got me and Conor close. So me and Conor became friends after that. Was he saying how tough I was? And at the end of it, I got cheeky with him. So he goes to me, we need more lads like that in the team like you. And I go, what more lads for you to batter? And he just looked at me, and I don't think he could believe that I got smart after taking a hiding, like, you know what I mean? Nah, you know what I mean, kid, you know what I mean? Just people up for that. And I was kind of like, I was shook. Obviously, I'm concussed and all at this point. So, like, he drops me home, drops me down to the train station. I get me train home, because it was an hour travel for me back and forth to SBG all the time. I get home, thank God it's dark. I get into the gaff, me nannies don't see me. The next morning I wake up, me nannies think I'm after being hopped on, coming home, like, you know what I mean? And they're like, what happened to you? I'm like, oh, I sparred Conor, you're never going back there again. I'm ringing John Kavanagh now, I'm going to have murder with him. And I snapped, I said, you can't ring anyone. I go, I'm not a pussy, you can't do that. This is just what happens. I went in on the Monday, John seen me face, looked all concerned. Oh my God, Dylan, what's wrong? Are you all right? Thought I got hopped on because I'm from a rough area. And I go, I sparred Conor on Friday. And he literally goes, yeah, that'll happen. And just walks off. Philip Mulpeter was on the corner and goes, that's not a normal Conor hiding, that's bad, you're all right there, like, you know what I mean? Like, worried about me kind of thing, like, you know what I mean? But John just laughed at me.
But there's a big age gap there, 16. I mean, Conor McGregor's the same age as me, so when...
He was 26, he was fighting Holloway in 2 weeks.
Like...
I was 62 kilo.
He's all the man he's going to be.
I was 5'11" though, so in Conor's head at that time, I think, I fit Holloway's body type. I was tall, lanky and skinny. You know what, it's like coming up to a fight, you know what I mean? He's on a different stratosphere. Like, I don't think he was even... Maybe I swung on him in that round and maybe I annoyed him, whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, look, if I always looked at it as if we could take a hiding off Conor for 7 rounds, we could take a hiding off anyone for 7 rounds. I definitely think it affected me chin growing up. And it's only gotten to now where I've kind of feel like I can take shots again. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, when you fight, you don't take many shots.
Not anymore. But you got to watch that Ventre fight. I used to fight with ego. I used to just want to fight. So if you done anything good to me, I'd be like, you cheeky little bastard, who do you think you are doing good shit to me in a fight? Like, you know what I mean? And I just have to get it back. I go into like what Ashton Daly used to call it, a tractor beam.
Have to get it back.
Sucks you in. And then I have to get caught again, you know what I mean? And then I get caught again. And it was only by the lessons that happened to me in the Ventre fight. I didn't really suss them until after the Elts fight. You know what I mean? Because I went out, I didn't spar coming up the Elts. I got caught with that same shot, right hand, left hook. You know what I mean? Without moving, 19 seconds into a fight. I was like, looking back on it now, I'm like, why was I throwing a shot in 19 seconds? You know what I mean? But James was like, don't throw a punch for 3 minutes. Just move. You know what I mean? Go do your thing, boy. And I think that's what I always needed, was someone just to kind of hold me back. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, like what James says to me is, you're too smart to fight. You're also too good to fight. These can't touch you. Just make a feel of them. You know what I mean? So now I do that, whereas back then I used to fight with like a little townie, like, you know what I mean?
Like you were having a scrap.
Yeah. And I was fighting good guys, which it wasn't like all the rest of the SBG guys. They're all getting thrown little easy fights, going into like choke everyone. I was getting guys that were getting torn down for by Richie or James. So the Ventre fight, Ventre said this himself, it was like he had been offered Richie and James. They both were torn down for him, but I got him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's obviously, sorry Paul, were you going to?
I'm interested in the your development of that evasiveness, because I call you the ghost, because it's very, very hard to touch you, and then all of a sudden you're being peppered by you with 3 shots and then you're away again. Was that from being at higher level? No. Or had you already developed that sort of skill of evasion?
I always had that. So
but you never ever used it, it was just...
I used it in some fights. So in the Calza fight I used it, and then in all the other fights I kind of just looked like a zombie. But I got it done because I think I played a lot psychologically with people as well, because I used to be in the head a little bit. Because I used to talk a little bit more and kind of I'd whip the teeth out and stuff, and it'd look a little bit like more gimmicky, like, you know what I mean? But I used to watch Dominic Cruz. Like, fascinated by Dominic Cruz. I'm almost sure there's a video on my phone. I'll get it up, of me just shadowboxing, pretending to be Dominic Cruz in the mirror, and I'm doing the bounce foot and I'm bouncing around, and it's mad, like, you know what I mean?
We'll get it sent in so we can add it onto the...
But I always done this, like, it was my thing, because I love footwork. I used to watch Frankie Edgar as well. But it wasn't until I came over here and I had James hone it and go, oh, really? You have all this footwork, but your technique is shite, mate. You know what I mean? He was like, your boxing's woeful, your head is on the centre line all the time, your recoil from your shots is awful, your evasive movement with your head defence. Now, James didn't say all this to me, but this was what it was. And then slowly but surely, we worked on the technique, slow. And then he added in everything. And then it was like, now look here. And everything just worked together. And now before the Musa fight, he was like, turned to me. And I turned to him and looked at Reid and Cundy while looking quite nervous, like, you know what I mean? Pre-Musa fight. Pre-Musa fight,
okay.
yeah. Big moment, big stage.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Big well-known guy.
Big well-known guy. And I turned around to him and I posted it the other way. It was like Muhammad Ali before Frazier. He turns around and he's like, why you all, you know what I mean? And I posted it being like, this was like me. And James texts back on, that didn't happen. And I was like, it didn't happen like this because I would have got a clatter. But I turned around to him, I was like, why are you looking so nervous? I was like, we're going to go have some fun. This is going to be a joint. And he looked at me and he goes, I'm not nervous. Best footwork in the game. And I just looked at him and I was like, best footwork in the game. That was it.
Do you think the Kane Musa fight is your best performance to date?
No, Conor yours. I'd give me Conor.
Prefer that one.
Yeah, no, I like both of them. I think I dog everyone now. Like, I think anyone at PFL looking in that tournament at the beginning and go, Dylan's not in it. Oh, fuck, thank God. Like, you know what I mean?
You mean the opponent-wise? They were happy not to see you
they're all
there.
looking at it going, Dylan's not in it. Oh, happy days. Like, you know what I mean? Well, Conor would have had me instead of Capella on Saturday. I know he would have looked at that as a harder fight because I've spoke to him. We're really good mates, like, you know what I mean? We talk all the time, like, really weird, like a little brother, like, could get along great with him, like, it's gas. But
happy to step in the cage and just...
No, not even. I'd hate to fight him because I really do get along great with him. But if we had to, we'll sell it and we'll make it happen and we'll go have a scrap anyway, like, you know what I mean? But I get along really well with him kind of thing. But I'd fight anyone kind of thing, like, you know what I mean? As long as I know higher level.
So moving forward, you're obviously saying about being in the PFL tournament last year. Is that what you're looking forward? Is that what you're looking for now? Because I don't want to open up the PFL thing, but is that where you're staying? Is that what's
that? I'd like to say I get good money at PFL. I get better money at PFL than I would if I went to a UFC contract, starter contract. You know what I mean? UFC ain't gonna put me on anything other than 10 and 10. Like, you know what I mean? Especially now with the way everyone's coming through the contender series. Why would they? Like, you know what I mean?
What is it? Is it
50%?
Is it 3 and 3?
It's fucking dirt. It's dirt. I don't know.
It's either 3 or 3, 5 and 5.
It's 5 and 5, but it only goes up by 1. And you have to stay for 8 to 10 fights. So it's like the old school Ultimate Fighter contracts. You can't renegotiate. They have you. You know what I mean? So that's why they want everyone in on it now. Like, you know what I mean? It's a crock of shit, but it's part of the monopoly. It's part to make the monopoly easier. Like, you know what I mean?
But you have got promotions like PFL who are paying guys what they're actually worth.
I'm on decent money. I'm on 10 and 10 now. My next fight I'll be on 14 and 14. So I'll be making 30 grand a fight. Dollars.
People need to remember when they say this, conversion to pounds and
taxes.
And then you've got to pay people.
Coaches.
It's more the taxes and the conversion that people don't understand. People think 30 grand, you get $30,000. It's like that bit in dodgeball. You ever seen $100,000 in real life? It's not like what it's like in the movies. And he pops open the briefcase. And it's like fucking all these subject. Like even Stevie's sitting there on the weekend. He's like, I fight for money, mate. How long are you fighting now? And you're still fighting for money. That says where the sport is. And that's what people don't understand is he's not getting 40 and 40 because he's getting taxed and it's getting dollars. This isn't even Stevie's number, but just him for an example. The fact that fighters have to keep going. Do you think Stevie would be fighting if he was sitting at home with Conor McGregor money?
No,
he wouldn't. He's not doing it for the fun of it. He's doing it for the money. As much as he'll say, like, I love it and all. If Stevie was sitting at home with Natalie and he had even a fraction of Conor's money, he's not fighting. I wouldn't fight. Like, if I had even like 300 grand in the bank, I'm sitting there going, I'm done. I'm out. You know what I mean? I have a house there. I'm grand. I'm sorted. Why would I? Like, I get the whole fighting for legacy and stuff, but it's kind of like you're fighting to set yourself up. You know this as much as yourself.
It's for when we finish.
Exactly. Everyone thinks, where am I going to get money after this? How am I going to get money after this? I'm going to have to go coach. I mean, how are you going to get money after this? You're a good-looking bloke. You're going to go do commentating. But imagine you didn't have that. So you have to make this short amount of money last for this length of time. People don't realise that.
It's not only that, in fighting, the dedication it requires to be a high-level fighter, you don't have room to go and learn to do something else.
Exactly.
There's just this, and then when this finishes, you're back at square one. Like, different for yourself, you've got teaching and things, you're a switched on guy, but there's a lot of men, aren't they, mate?
He's not going to go back to that, though.
No, of course you don't want to go back. Of course not. But what I'm saying is,
you're always going forward.
But not even in that, you don't want to. Like, not saying that's too much hard work for where you are in your life. Like, you imagine think about Gemma. Gemma has to go and work Monday to Thursday. Imagine how grafting that is all day, and then she still has to come in at night.
And come in at night, and as well as the weekends, she has to double down even harder.
You know what I'm saying?
Diet, I remember go through it. You were doing it? You were doing it, man.
I say it to everyone, like even people walking on the street and they're like, oh, you're a hard worker. And I go, no, you're a hard worker. You wake up at 6 a.m, you go home at 5. You go home to your missus, you provide for your family, and you wake up and go to bed and do that all day, every day. You're a hard worker. I'm a lazy scumbag. I fell into something that I'm good at and I'm just lucky at it. And I get to go and I get to train twice a day, 3 times a day.
Couple hours a day.
Bro, I have 4 or 5 hours free during every day to do nothing, just sit and smoke joints. You know what I mean? I sit with my dogs, I do whatever I'm going to sit. You know what I mean? But we're blessed in this life. Yeah. You know what I mean? We could be out there on a building site. I couldn't
imagine it, mate. See the young guys who
spoke about this last time. Like
they're on about
to get up and do this every single day and have somebody giving you shit. Like, oh, you're 5 minutes late,
and you can't do anything.
If you're 5 minutes late in the gym, right? You're like, listen, James, I'm sorry, and
I don't even have to. Jimmy do it like not even being bad. James says
he understands.
He put up this thing as like, I'm here for you. You have a busy life. If you get here 5-10 minutes late, he knows it's different with me now because I'm just sitting at home smoking a joint. You know what I mean? But even then, when I come in, he just gives me a little look and he winks at me. You know what I mean? I know he smiles at me. I know he's happy to just see me there. Like, you know what I mean? Because he's like, if he doesn't see me, he's like, what's Dylan up to? Like, you know what I mean? I know he's sitting there going, what's me boy up to? Is he doing something stupid? Like, and I'm like, no, I'm just at home.
I remember one of the funniest things, because James can be quite an interesting guy because sometimes he's unbelievably, unintentionally funny. And I remember one day I've came into the gym and I went, hey, James, I really need to be away at 12 o'clock today just for picking up the kids. He went, why don't you just take the whole session, mate? But he said it so like deadpan, and I was like,
said it so autistic, like,
I don't know what to say, but
do I go
does
home?
He mean this? Like that? What am I meant to do here? So do you think the relationship with James has really been the big turning point, which is obviously what we're moving towards? Because I know this is something I feel a bit different with this podcast, because obviously I've known you for a little while, Paul's known you for a little while, so it's not like we're having to build this rapport with you. We already know the sort of things that we know a bit about you. So I'll let you just lead off. Your move for Ireland to higher level is obviously, people like to talk about that one. You're this brash Irish guy who came over here and found his home just outside Bathgate in a wee gym. How did all this come about, mate?
So I feel like James has been a part of my life for an awful long time. So I've met Biffy. I've found Biffy as in listening to them off of Ashman Daly, who found it off of James. James showed them her. So that was a small connection. When I was coming up, James was like, obviously, like, he's a pioneer, but the people who I looked up to him, which was really weird. Like, so like, I used to be like, Ash used to be talking so highly about James. Paddy Houlihan used to talk so highly about James. Chris Fields used to talk so highly. Even John Kavanagh used to talk so highly about James. James Doolan was just one of those people that I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about him. You know what I mean? And then it's kind of like, he must be the same as everyone else kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all coaches are the same. They're nice, but they're not, like, you know what I mean? And I came over to do a week's training with him and I just loved him. He was just so chilled. They brought me out for lunch the last day, paid for me lunch and all. Me, a little broke kid at that time, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know, just talking to him and all, it just felt right. Everything, looking at how he treated his boys was like, that was the big thing to me. He was so hands-on with everyone. He was so, it wasn't about him. So it was hands-on, but it wasn't about James. It was hands-on for you. Like, I want to make you as good as you can be, but we don't want to be anywhere seeing, like, you know what I mean? And that to me was like, okay, cool. And as I'm leaving, I turned to him, I go, all right, I'm going to go home and save. I'll be back. And he was like, what? I was like, I'm going to move here. I was like, I'll be back. And he was like, yeah, sure, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I've heard that before. COVID happened. After COVID finished, the biggest crock of shit ever, I rang him and I was like, all right, I'm going to save up money. I'll be over to you in 6 months. All right, cool. 6 months later, I come over. I come into the gym. I get battered by everyone for like 3-4 weeks because I haven't been up to that standard of training. Maybe 2 weeks. Shanks battered me on the first day. Went around talking shit about me to everyone on the first day. Yeah, battered me. Just rolled with me. But I think everyone was expecting me to be what I am. But I was off the pace. I hadn't been training with high level fighters. Like, you know what I mean? I had just been coming into KF. I'd come in for a session, I'd go home, I'd sit with me mates, I'd take 5 days off, I'd come back and do a session. I was real lazy. I had no motivation for it, you know what I mean? I was retired in my head. I was a dad sitting at home with my 2 little sisters, making sure that they were all safe, no social workers involved, nothing like that, like, you know what I mean? So they were my main priority. So when I came over here, I realised I was off the pace, and then I think James was like, he's not as good as I thought he was going to be. And then 2-3 later, I got everyone. I got fit, and I went in, smashed. And then it was at the end of a grappling session and Jimmy looked at me, he's like, I'd rolled with James, but I'd put it on James as well, like, you know what I mean? And James looked at me, he's like, you bluffed all of us. You bluffed all of us for that first 2 weeks. You just wanted to see what it was. And I just looked at him and go, I was just fat. And like, that was it. And then, I don't know, I've never looked back. I couldn't imagine me being anywhere without James. As much as making me a better fighter, he's made me a better person. I feel like I'm a better man. I've never had, I've had mammy issues growing up. So I had Ash. Ash was me ma. You know what I mean? She made me a better person through that. I don't think I really realised that. I might have had father issues as well because I never had a dad growing up, like, you know what I mean? And I never yearned for that. I looked at that. But James, I think, noticed that a little bit and just saying that I needed a little bit of guidance, someone to kind of just cop on, you little Egypt, like, you know what I mean? And I've, like, if anyone slapped me before, that gave out to me before, I turned to them and went, you shut your mouth, watch your mouth, like, you know what I mean? Because if I had issues with my dad growing up, we went outside and had a knock. You know what I mean? We went down to the back of the flats and we just had a fight. Like, that was how it was, like, you know what I mean? So for me, for someone to tell me something and for me to be like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was like with James. So now if I got a text off James now, you'd see me like start to get a little bit shaky. Like, something like, am I in trouble? Am I not in trouble? So it's just a level of respect I have from him and just, he's done it all. Like, you know what I mean? So I kind of, and he's never asked for anything off me, which is a big thing. Like, I've never.
I remember being in London for your fight, UFC London, and fight's finished, he's just away. He's not at the bar. He's not drinking drinks.
He's not interested.
He's not getting pictures. He's all business, mate. And then I saw Kieran Reid and I was like, all right. He's like, I'm just grabbing some food for James. I'm like, this guy's he's no interested in this, eh? Like, he's at work. He doesn't matter. Like, you've came, had a great performance, great win. Everything's went your way. Doesn't he even want to enjoy it? Just wants to get on with the job.
Have you seen the picture from the weekend? He obviously had an amazing weekend at PFL.
Which one? The one of all of us?
The one of Ollie's, and James is just stoic.
He puts that on though. That's him. Like, he puts
I don't know.
No, he does. He does. He does.
I think he's a stoic man.
No. The picture thing is him. That's his picture face. So he does that now to make it look like I don't have any emotions in pictures. Because I noticed this because after I won in Battle Arena, he was smiling. That was the camera coming and just went straight. And then the minute the camera's off, you just see him smiling. And I was like, you cheeky little fucker. But you not see at the end of the Stevie fight?
I did.
Did you see?
Flag.
No. Oh my God. Did you not see? Oh, fucking.
Dylan's got a good picture of it.
I've got a video of this. It's Jimmy celebrating. Look at this one. And I said, that's what I texted him. I go, I have a great bit here though. And I sent him that. And I was like, don't worry, I won't show anyone.
We'll tag it in the bottom of the podcast.
Getting in the video.
But he's for me, I was coming to the end of my career as well. And I moved to higher level. And it was through people telling me, it was through Stevie Ray. And James had no reason to welcome me to the gym. He didn't need to.
Because you were having shit in all the years. You know what I mean?
A long time. Like, me and him were nearly fighting in a
You told me this before, yeah. You told me this, you pushed him, yeah. Cunt.
Aye, we were ready to box in a cage.
And push my dad.
And but you know what? He welcomed me in. He welcomed me in. He didn't need to, and he has developed me massively. The time I've had with James, I've improved so much. Right, it's not as easy to showcase it because we're fighting high level opponents.
You look great in the gym,
but it's I cannot thank this guy enough for what he's done.
I think it surrounds with Clancy where you see how much you've improved, because when you first came, Clancy was just killing you.
Well, that was it as well. Like,
I know Clancy has awful rounds.
For the first month, I took second prize in everybody. Aye. I remember Kieran Reid on top of me, just like, are you going to work? And I'm like, I fucking am. Like, but use the level of what the guys at higher level work at is far superior to what I had ever worked at. So when we do our wrestling sessions and James sets them up in such a way where it's like, I don't care if you can wrestle, what I want you to do is work in these positions.
Don't stop.
Aye.
Yeah.
And right now, he's got a good system, and
Tuesday, Thursday, loves it. Yeah.
It's one of these sessions where I hate it. I'm like, fucking trying.
The systems based approach though is clearly
works.
But so you leaned on it earlier with the father figure situation. Do you think
hate me for that one?
No, I don't think so. The systems based approach also works because I know a bit more than obviously people watching, but there probably wasn't much routine for you growing up. So is all of a sudden this routine, and I need you here at this time, and I need you here at this, is this part of the system which keeps you on the straight and narrow, which keeps you going to the gym, which keeps you improving? Is this what stops what, and all the others are guilty of this, me especially,
The madness.
because it's easy to fall in with the wrong people, it's easy to do the wrong things, and none of us can throw stones because we're all guilty of it. But
I've had a very colourful life. You know what I mean? I come from a very rough area, you know, and if I didn't have my grandmother, if I didn't have my grandmothers, my grandmother Sarah, obviously, who's like me ma, I call her mama, and my grandmother Susan, who's both raised me, like if I didn't have two of them, I would have either been locked up probably by now or on the end of a needle. Like that's just the truth of it. I don't hide from that, like, you know what I mean? But the gym had great people in it, and it always had routine in it, and routine does keep you sane. I seen this quote from Khabib Nurmagomedov the other day. It was like, if I don't train, I'm depressed. And it's the same as me. It's just like a drug that we've been hooked on for years. It's a good drug, you know what I mean? So it's one of those that it brings out the best in us. But if we don't have it, you can see it becoming worse. And you're kind of like, oh, why am I so upset the last week or two? And it's like, well, when did you train last? And it's like, 3 weeks ago. It's like, there it is. Like, it's not that you're depressed. It's that you're not doing what you're meant to. So that routine really does uplift you, but also it fights away all your demons. Like, because you don't realise how much a wall talks to you until you're in the room on your own with the wall. Like, you know what I mean? And then 4 walls are talking to you and talking shit, and you're like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? But when you get out and you start working and doing your stuff and you come home, the house is peaceful because you're not in your own head. Like, you know what I mean?
You've got rid of all the demons in the gym.
The only thing that eliminates doubt is action. You know what I mean? And that's a Conor McGregor quote. The only thing that gets rid of doubt is action. So if you're there doing the work, you won't doubt yourself. But if you're not doing the work, you're going to sit at home doubting yourself because you know it's true. It's like all these guys that take all these shit fights and try and talk about themselves like they're animals and all. They sit up at night knowing that they're at the battering a jobby, like, and they know like they're not the hardest cunt in the room, like, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So it's like your work is only evident to what you are, like. So if you're working half-assed, you're gonna be a half-assed guy. But if you're working full on, you'll get something out of it, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? I
think it helps as well that you're quite a straight talker. I remember saying this about you. It was maybe on the podcast actually after my fight with Matthias, where we were going up the road and I was feeling dead sorry for myself. I've cut my head. I've no won. And you were just like, this is how I know not only are you're an honest straight shooter, but you are actually your friend because you'll be honest with them. You were like, well, you were getting tired anyway. You were like, you were getting tired in that third round. That might have happened anyway. It probably is a bad enough cut to stop the fight. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, at first I went, who the fuck is he talking to? And then I was like, nah, if he's saying it, he's being honest.
Well, only ever, like, this is the thing that I got off Ashlyn Daly. So I fucking talk about it all the time because she's basically like me ma, but she's made me a great person. Like, you know what I mean? Showed me how to cook, look after myself. All this stuff came from Ash, you know what I mean? In the later stage of my life, like 18, because I lived with her for a couple of years, and she's like, you need to know how to be a man, like, and look after yourself, you know what I mean? I was a little bit all right with it, but not to the extent that I needed to be. And she would say basically, what would she say? It was like fucking, yeah. So the harshest truth is better than the sweetest lie. So she was like,
for sure,
I'd rather you be brutally honest with me and know you are brutally honest with me than sit there sweet lying to me for weeks and then at the end of it to come out and be like, oh, well, this was the truth all along, like, you know what I mean? And I used to be one of those kids. When I was a kid, I used to be a little bit of a bullshitter, you know what I mean? So I used to say like lavish things, like we had this thing called skillish in the village, and I was like, I invented that saying. I invented that.
I still do this now.
I was like, I invented that. And I used to say to my cousins when I was younger, and to this day they still bring up to me like, remember you said you invented skillage in the village? And I was like, I did. You know what I mean? And from now when I'm older, I just try and be so, I don't want anyone being able to pull up what I'm saying, oh, you're lying. So I try and be very factual. And even with my stories and stuff, if you go and ask people that are there and you tell them the story that I've told you, the story is usually identical, like, you know what I mean? I used to have a friend, Sean Keogan, one of my longest training partners, and he said the same. He was up talking with the boys in the back, and they were like, oh, Dylan said this, but you wouldn't know if whatever. And he just went, no, look, if Dylan said that,
it's true.
It happened. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm like, whatever I say is gospel. I just don't want to be pulled up and called a shitbag or a lawyer. So I try and make sure that everything is kind of on the ball. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's maybe why probably the three of us do get on as well. Like when I first came to the gym, you were probably one of the first people I sort of like, oh, this guy seems like a same guy as me. Do you know how you kind of make those connections in the gym, especially like Paul just said there, the first month in higher level. I'm not going to lie, mate, I didn't really want to go. Like, I was like, it's fucking daunting. And then Paul was meshing. He's like, by the way, fucking, it's heavy going in here.
It's clicky. We are clicky, but we're only clicky on hard work. We love everyone.
I was just going to say that.
Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think he's like,
as in, like, not as in the gym, it's clicky. The gym is clicky. So we are all higher level. Even the beginners that come in and put that 80 quid into the pot every month and just do the classes, they're part of the ninja team. Like, you know what I mean? We're all one. Like, we'll go over, like, even we'd seen one of the boys in a room. I went straight over to him, hugged him from behind, gave him a kiss on his cheek, because that's just how we are. We're not like...
It was Dean.
It's Dean Housey. We're not friends in the gym. We're friends, we're brothers, like, you know what I mean?
Friends everywhere.
Like, I know if I need, like, I think he's had Mark on last week and he's had Stevie Reid before that. If I needed anything, I know I could ring one of them two people and be like, I'm stuck. I'm really in a bad spot. Can you help me? I know Mark Young would come straight over to me. I know Stevie would come straight over to me. Kieran Harvey, Kieran Reid. When I got that soccer kick in Bildo, Kieran Reid was over checking on me, bringing me fucking steaks and all. I'm sitting in my gaff in the dark with headaches, crying, like, you know what I mean? Because I think, oh, my PFL thing is gone and all. And then what got me out of that slump is coming back to training, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I think we're all just like that. But even then, I gave you shit your first day that you walked into the gym. I was like, you're 5 years too late. You know what I mean? And then when you walked in, Jimmy went like this and hit me. And he's like, he's here, isn't he? And I just went, yeah, he is, yeah. Fair play to you, Paul. Good work, like, you know what I mean?
Mate, I remember you've done it to me, sparring with Paul, going, you're not going hard enough on him because he's your mate.
I know,
like just call it like you see it, eh?
I know you go with you, I go at you. I'm like, fuck it, we go, like, you know what I mean? I don't know, I think that's the way it is. And I think James being like that, James doesn't sugarcoat anything. No. So if I'm being a dick or I'm doing that, James will get you, like, you know what I mean? So I think it's just from the top down. Everything's from the top down, like, you know what I mean?
So you touched on PFL.
Yeah.
Where are we at with it? Because they're obviously Scotland's had a brilliant weekend at PFL,
and you should have been on the card.
Yeah, I should have been on the card, but fuck, look,
as a Scottish native, let's be honest.
What a card though, I took it in, you know what I mean? As in, like, this is what I said to James going home, I was like, maybe it was a good thing I wasn't on it, because the feelings I have right now, leaving the arena, I was like...
When you were like this on the camera.
As it gave you like a...
I was like, why are you putting the live camera on me? That's an awful idea.
As it gave you fire.
Yeah.
To see your team do as well as they did in Scottish PFL, and then for you moving forward, you get a bit of fire in you.
I think I just love seeing, like, so obviously when I look at Gemma and I look at Enzo, especially them two, because they're debuting guys, where they are in their career now compared to where I was is way better. That makes me super happy, because I'm like, that's a progress. Fuck, we're getting better.
People are getting paid what they're worth. They're fighting bigger shows. They're having harder fights.
Yes.
But they're getting paid what they're worth. Like, how many of these local shows were you fighting on and getting barely enough to cover training?
Getting paid.
I got 200 quid. I got 200 quid for the Adam Venture fight. I got 300 quid for me debut on Bama, and I got 500 quid for my second fight on Bama. I made money off tickets, but that was my problem.
That's you.
That was my shit. I made money off that.
You had to hustle. So this camp has been very, very tough in the old upper body. Obviously, we're fighting Bo Nickel, who's wrestling, so loads of clinch work, loads of wrestling positions, and I've been feeling it in my shoulder. But I've got a mob who offer me unparalleled support. They are called Anaconda. And Ross, where can you hit up Anaconda?
You can get them at anacondafightwear.co.
You know who else has an Anaconda?
So if you're looking for some, be it a rash guard, be it some support, Anaconda's got your back. And for this fight camp, it's been massively used as the Anaconda shoulder brace, except nothing but Anaconda, because there is others out there, but Anaconda do it better. And as always, keep it Anaconda. Link is in the bio. And if they got a special one,
they've got 2 braces, any 2. So mix and match, knee, shoulder, wrist, elbow, whatever you need. You can join their email list and get 10% off, or you can put in leathered 10 at the checkout for 10% off. Again, the link's in our bio.
It makes sense. If you're struggling with any sort of injury, check out Anaconda.
Any little cups?
You want to crack that open?
Get the whiskey going. I'll take a shot. Yeah, Muggle do. I only want a little shot.
You having a one, mate?
We should have. Come on. Jimmy, I'll see you tomorrow. Where did Dylan go? On the coke, mate.
No, I'm fine. We get the coke in the go.
3 for the winner. Yup,
So, sorry, what are we talking about there?
I don't know.
We're talking about Dylan on PFL and the
yeah.
weekend.
So the weekend, you had the fire. Moving forward,
Got the fire.
you were looking at Gemma, and you've got this like relationship with Gemma, and I notice her development. You're involved in that
that's Jimmy.
massively.
Just
No. You got to take credit.
it's-
You're an older statesman within the gym.
Nah, it's just Jimmy.
Jimmy's the captain, but you're still his second in charge, man.
No, that's Reid. Kieran Reid is the second in charge, and we'd be lost without Kieran. I think that's evident on fight week. I think Kieran's even more quiet than James because he just doesn't. He's just really like, but he is the second in command. The gym would be lost without Reid. I think he's like the unsung hero of the gym. Cleans the gym every day, twice a day. No matter what any of us need, Reid is there. Reid's always checking on us, texting us, trying to see what the story is. Oh yeah, baby, that's enough. Don't kill me. Yes, baby.
Do you drink whiskey regularly?
Sláinte. Yeah, and then I get done for assault. But you know what I mean?
Me too.
Haven't got arrested over here yet.
So we're looking at the gym, and you've got this hierarchy. You're up there.
Of course.
You're one of these guys who, to be part of the gym, you've got to get through you as well.
I'd say so, yeah. Look, I am definitely up there, but just as in second, it's heavy.
I like a Jura, mate.
That's smooth.
I'm sorry, Paul.
That's all right.
I didn't get Lefroy because I just wasn't sure. Like, see, Irish whiskies, they're a bit more.
Oh, she's punching.
You can
She definitely...
just rinse your mouth and spit out.
Her development as a fighter is mainly down to James, but mainly down to her. She's a grafter. Like, she comes in, does 3 sessions every day, like, you know what I mean? And on top of being a teacher, like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's all down to her. Oh, yeah, I along very well with her. Like, she's like me bestie in the gym, like, you know what I mean? I think that's just... I know how to deal with females because I've had Ash. I held Ash all of her career. I was like a main training partner. So it's just easier for me. Like, I kind of like just... You know what I mean? I can kind of tone me weight down a little bit, kind of tone down, and she can get a good round out of it. Whereas it's not her getting mongoed all the time by blokes don't like to lose the boards, like, you know what I mean?
It's no, I've said this before about sparring with women. I tend to avoid them because I am not.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes. Oh fuck! What have I done? Like, do you get what I mean? Like, you throw something too hard, or
Aye.
you just start. I'm just no cerebral enough to work out what I'm doing sometimes.
And it's not saying that they're not good enough to go male. It's just
No, not at all.
body types are completely different. Like, you know what I mean? So she's like 63 kilos, 62 kilo, or whatever, and she goes with, say, Aaron, who's 67. Even though there's only a couple of kilo in between them, he's a fully grown man. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, it makes for a harder round. So I just, I don't know, but her development is all down to her. Like, any part I can take in it, if someone giving me credit, happy days, thanks so much.
But you're trusted to corner. You're trusted to give advice. You're undoubtedly, I would almost say, a coaching role. Like, well, I'm not anybody in the gym, but if you told me to do something, I would do it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even. That would just be subconsciously. I would just go, okay.
I think because of the way the lads see how James treats me, so if they look at me like that, like, all right,
I don't know if that's all it is. You're selling yourself a bit short there. You're like, well, they like me because I'm James's mate.
No.
I just think that's possibly untrue.
I just mean as in, like, so say even like, I say like, so James, I know how highly James looks at me. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not blowing my own horn here. Like, James has said I'm one of the best guys he's ever seen ever in a gym. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's from his mouth. When he said that, I had an awful lot of. My confidence wasn't what it was when I first came over. I wasn't the nuke that everyone once knew of, this little cocky, confident dickhead going around starting on everyone. But I'm the best, so it's fine. When I first came over, I was just shelling myself. I didn't know what I was anymore. Like, I didn't even know if I was going to fight again, to be honest. Like, I was just here and I was going to see how it was going. But James restored everything in me. You know what I mean? Not by filling me head full of smoke every day and telling me how good I am. That never happened. But it was when it'd come to the moment before walking, he'd say something to me. And I'd be like, oh, okay, fuck, if he thinks it, I can do it. Like, you know what I mean? Or else I'd hear other people coming to me and go, well, James said I wanted to bet. And then I'm here, well, fuck, that's coming from another person. And I'm just like, if this fella who's trained the best of the best of the best, thinks that I'm even a quarter this good. Fuck, let's fucking go. Like, I can do this. Like, you know what I mean?
What was it that was holding you down in Ireland? Or for what reason was it you were the shell? You're saying the shell of yourself. You're saying...
Just bad vibes, man. Bad vibes. Being on a team where people don't like you. You know what I mean? Being on a team where people won't spar you. Being on a team where people are running to an office crying about how you're going round, but you're not going hard in rounds. You're just getting the better of them. Just, like, I was stuck my last time in SBG. I had 2 training partners. And the reason I'm so good, I'm grateful for it, were Luke Jelcic and Peter Queedy. She couldn't pick 2 fucking better training partners, but they were fucking huge, like, you know what I mean? Like, Luca was 83 kilo walking around, but he was a lightweight, like, you know what I mean? He was gigantic. Peter was 80 kilo walking around. And I just remember weeks and weeks of getting battered by them being the restaurant, and then I slowly but surely wasn't the restaurant.
You were the
anymore.
restaurant.
Yeah.
That's how you saw yourself.
Luca wouldn't say this. Now, Luca would be like, oh, my bollocks you want. But I was smaller than them. I was a featherweight at the time. They were big grown men. They could do it. Like, but as the weeks went on, the rounds got harder for them, and they'll say that as well. And then by the 6th week, we were all having great rounds, like, you know what I mean? Still couldn't take Peter down. He's like a fucking cat, you know what I mean? But great rounds, like, you know what I mean? Couldn't do anything to Luca.
So you're obviously quite tight with Peter.
Best friends.
You've got another good friend who's he's a big name up there, Artem Lobov.
Best friends. The Russian Hammer.
I saw him commenting on your PFL post. He's obviously disappointed not to see you fighting either.
I love that fella. The realest of the real is the Russian Hammer. You know what I mean? Prospect killer, I call him, because that was his first name when he was beating people. When he beat Dave Hill, was it? Dave Hill in his first fight.
I think it was that.
Back at Dave Hill. It was great. Dave Hill thought he was a grappler. Artem's one of the best. Artem's the reason why I finished school and all. So Artem kicked me out of the gym like 5 months before me leaving cert. He was like, I don't want to see you in this gym. He's like, because knowledge is power. He's like, you'll regret not doing well and you're leaving after you do it. He was like, but you won't regret doing well in it and missing training. You know what I'm saying? So he kicked me out, made me go, and I came back after leaving. And he was like, how do you feel now? I was like, I'm so happy I done that, because I got good results, but I was being suspended through school, just not going in and stuff. So he knew that I needed them 5 months to sit in a library and study rather than coming to the gym at night. You know what I mean?
The thing is, I don't believe you can be a good fighter and an idiot, right? And this is something that keeps coming up in these conversations. We're having these conversations with high-level fighters, and they're clearly very intelligent people, but for whatever reason, they just get pulled towards madness. Like, and we're all guilty of it. Like, I can't sit here and pretend I'm any type of fucking angel, and I'm not even a good fighter. But so what is it like? Do you think without this, how would we have seen this going? Truthfully, would it? When you say the needle or jail, are you dead set on that?
100%. Anyone who knows me knows where I come from. We come from D1. Like, I'm a D1 prodigal son. Like, and we are one of the roughest areas in the whole of Dublin. So maybe Finglas and Darndale. D1 is there. Like, you know what I mean? And there isn't much choice other than selling drugs, taking drugs, causing crime. Like, I'm from cartel land. Like, you know what I mean? Kinahan and Hutch squad, like, literally you have a murder outside my door. I could hear the gunshots and all. Like, that's what I could hear the killings. Like, that's. I don't think people get how bad Dublin is, kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Until they see it. Like, you know what I mean?
It's this other place over the water, isn't it? That's where it's.
Well, the lads came over to Dublin for the UFC, off of the PFL Dublin, and they came to my area, and they were like, holy fuck, this is rough. And I was like, what do you think? I'm telling you that I'm rough and it's like going to come and see rainbows and all that. I brought a little stag into me flats with where all my boys are, and he was literally petrified. The young fella was sitting around me, and he thought Paisley was rough. Then when he went home to James, he was like, I want to see where Dylan's from. And I'm like, yes, I've been telling you all this. Like, I'm from Gutter, like, you know what I mean? And that's the flats looking nice. They're built up looking nice now, like, you know what I mean? So there wasn't much option, like, so if I hadn't have found MMA, I would have been a bit fucked. You know what I mean? Because I was going that way anyway. I was getting expelled from school, even with MMA. So it took even a couple of years to kind of get a hold of me, like, you know what I mean?
See, when you left school, you're obviously still training, still fighting. Were you finding yourself in a bit of madness? Were you finding yourself caught up? Because you're obviously able to ages to drink, you're going out with friends, and you're a product to your environment. Did you find yourself in some situations where you're out having a couple of beers and fucking somebody knows who you are and is like, fucking Dylan Tuke, I'm going to go for him?
Yeah, no, I used to get that a little bit, but I used to have great mates, and my mates would fight for me.
So they would do the
My mates would just jump in front of me and, like, be just like, nah, you're not going here.
Handle it.
Yeah, my mates used to be like, he's too much salutes, you can fight us. I remember them saying it, like, right in front of me, and I just sat laughing behind them. I was like, But I don't really get too many people starting on me. I have to remember, I have teeth now, but I was walking around for 8 years with no teeth. You're not coming up and starting on someone with no teeth. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, most people think I'm a crackhead, so they're like, I don't want anything to do with that. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you know what I remember saying to you though? I had never known you with teeth.
Yeah.
And see, like, I see it as more of a difference now. Now you have them, I'm like, I can look at all that guy's teeth.
That guy's gorgeous.
See, before though, see when you had no teeth, hand on heart, I never noticed it.
Aye.
Like, I was just so used to seeing you. It's like when you first shave your head. See, when you first shave your head, people are like, fucking hell, what you done?
Look at that baldy cunt.
Aye.
But
But then everybody's like, he's always had a shaved head. Because
Apparently it's like the human brain has like a 6 month thing or a 6 week thing. It's like after 6 weeks, it's like
forgot the old memory.
yeah, it's just new to them now. Nobody says that about my teeth now except that blinds them. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, mate, you pay $5,000 for teeth. I'm not getting black teeth. Like, you know what I mean?
So what made you go for new teeth? Because you'd went for so long without them.
But I wanted them. I had a schedule to go to Turkey 3-4 times, and then fights came up. And the PFL, like before the PFL tournament, I had the money there, and I was saying to James, all right, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna go get my teeth done. He was like, yeah, class. Like, then the PFL tournament happened, and I was like, don't really have enough recovery time now, do I? And he was like, maybe not. So he just left it and left it again. And then by the time I was sitting there with a couple of months off, and I was like, fuck, I have a bit of cash, I booked it, and I was just like, I'm going. Like, you know what I mean? I got fed up walking down the street and people looking at me like I was like I was something, or I was something up. Whereas I was kind of like, I remember even I was at a festival before with my mates, and I don't know what, a group of people came over, were talking to me, and a young fella comes over and grabs his mates away from us, and I'm like, that was weird. I turn, like, look, and he's like pointing at his mouth to say, as in, I have no teeth, he's a dodgy cunt. And I come straight up to him, right up to his face, and I go, you cheeky little cunt, what are you saying about me? And I go, do you want to know how I lost my teeth? Do you want to know the story behind it? Do you want to know how I lost it representing me country, going out to fight for Ireland, you mad little
that's
weirdo?
what a lot of people don't realise. It was done
in London, competing for Ireland. Like, I was like,
it was a knee, wasn't it?
It was flying knee, like, and I still won the fight, like 2 rounds. So 2 rounds to 0, only 2 rounds of batting him, like, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there looking at him, and he goes, yeah, come on, tell me a story. And I go, nah, because you're a little dope. I go, you don't deserve it. I'm way more colourful language than this now, you know what I mean? And I just walked off. But that to me was the thing. Like, I just hated people seeing it and being like,
that's the first thing they see rather than you. It made such a difference. I remember when you were sending me the picture, I was like, fucking hell, it totally changed everything about your face.
good looking, you know what I mean? Not a bad looking bloke. Like, and I had that.
You're cheerful now. You're like a happy, cheerful
I'm
guy.
always smiling,
Aye,
so
that's what I mean.
At least I'm not smiling with a big gap in me mouth now, you know what I mean? It's just someone who come to shove a dick in it. No.
That was me when you were sleeping in Barnsley.
I don't pay me rent like this anymore. I don't pay me rent like this. I don't suck dick.
So,
Only a little bit of dick.
PFL, Leon, can we draw you? Can we get you? Can we get you to say something?
I want on that fucking card. I want on a card in 5 weeks. I want on any card. There's a Bellator card in 4 or 5 weeks. If they could give me a Nathan Kelly kind of fight, like as in, or a Paul Lewis kind of fight. Mm-hmm. You know, because I'm the only Irish bloke that gets hard fights. Because
And why is that? Why do you think that is?
Because they hate me. They hate me because they ain't me. You know, they hate us because they ain't us. I don't know what it is. I'm the only Irish bloke that ever, except for Peter Queedy. Peter Queedy went through his whole career getting fights. But I'm talking about the new Bellator PFL guys. None of them fight any good guys. They all fight jobbies. They all fight guys that they're going to be. Mm-hmm. And they struggle with them. Whereas I'm getting all these killers. Like, I'm getting Conor Hughes coming off of 7 first-round finishes. Kane Musa never been beaten like the way I beat him. You know what I mean? Kazuba never been punched around like the way I punched around. Look how he's getting on in PFL. Yazid Kashan couldn't last more than 7 minutes. You know what I mean? But he's going to decisions with these guys or whatever. So I'm just kind of like, why? I said it to James Fearon on the weekend. He's like, why are you not fighting? I go, you just wouldn't text me back. I couldn't get a word back off you, so I didn't know when I was going to be fighting. Like, you know what I mean? It's not my fault. I just sit here and accept the fight. Yes, no, 2 bags full. So I thought it was getting me show money for the alternate spot, and it turned out it was only getting like $1,000. So it wasn't worth me piss to do it, because I would have lost out on money through how much I'd have to spend on wake up week for medicals and refuel. And
again, these are other bits for people watching.
Don't understand.
It's converted into pounds from $1,000.
So
still got to pay coaches. Still got to pay bills have still got to get paid.
Medicals.
So he's not going home with. He's probably not going home with any money.
Well, I'd already done my medicals in my eyes, so that was 160. So we're down to 600 quid left. Mm-hmm. on the week, I need to buy certain food from the Saturday. Like, so I can only have steak for breakfast. 5 steaks are very expensive. You know what I mean? Avocados, this, that, and the other. So that week's shopping without me refuel is probably like 70 quid. And with me refuel on top of it, it's like 100 quid. So I'm looking now at about 350, 400 quid. So I'm going to make what, 300 quid for making wheat? Right. And that's without going out on the Saturday night for a meal, or going out on the Friday night with a meal for the team. You know what I mean? Of course. I'm not going to make
Which is traditional. We all do it. We all do it.
I'm not going to make James pay for that. So nope. James doesn't pay for it. Like, James will try to pay for everything because that's just James. Like, well, you're not meant to let him. Like, you know what I mean? You cover his expenses because that's what he does.
You wouldn't want to be in a position where you're not able to cover it.
Exactly. So I was sitting there being like, it's just not worth me while. I'm on good contract money now. So it was like to them, they were like, Leon, but obviously they're worried about me getting puffed for weight. And I was like, mate, I just won't smoke for a week. Like, be out of my system, I'll be grand. Like, I'm not some kind of fucking addict. Like, you know what I mean? I haven't smoked today. I'm not shaking. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, just get me a night and Keddy fight or a Paul Hughes fight. The fight is are bringing people in. You know they're going to beat them. But why don't I get any of these fights? I don't want them. I don't ask for them specifically. But if you're struggling to get me matched, you can get all these other guys matched. You'll get me matched. All I'm going to do is feint on you for a little bit and body lock you. You're not going to get hurt. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to feint on you. I'm just going to play with your mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, I want to get out maybe 5 weeks, get me out. I can go out and sub someone in the first round and get me out on the Leon card. I can do the alternate spot for that, but have a fight. So if someone gets injured, I jump in for Conor or Kasuba. It's a rematch both ways. So it looks good for PFL. And then if it doesn't come out, I'd still get another win. So then by the end of the year, I'm up to 10-4. You know what I mean? Well, it should be fucking 10-2 with 2 of the losses on the out. But still, I'm on that nice record where I'm like, I can go to the States now, you know what I mean? I don't have to hang around Europe anymore. You can give me some state competition, like, you know what I mean? And I was just kind of like, so I said that to them. So we'll see where we go. I have a meeting with Dan Hardy this week. I don't know whether he's pissed off at me for not doing the alternate spot because I pulled out on the week, but I didn't know what I was getting paid, so I just wasn't doing it for what they offered. So hopefully it all works out. I'd love to be on the Leon card. You know what I mean? I don't see why they.
Do you think
you know what I mean?
The French Athletic Commission obviously had some bother with them before for
it's just a ganja? So if I just don't smoke, like even then.
So what was it? You were banned. You were banned for 6 months because they had tested you for weed. But every other state in America, everywhere else, every other awarding body allows THC in the system. Am I correct in saying
I had like 4 tests or 5 tests. So I'd been tested in Berlin, I'd been tested in Dublin, and I had been tested, where was the other one? In Paris. So I got tested like 3 or 4 times in different places. It was grand and everywhere except for Paris. Paris was the only one I failed. And I think I was like, whatever the limit is, I was 30 over the limit. Not even that big a deal, like, you know what I mean? But what I said to them was, lads, it's not like I'm going in here with juice. Like, so you're going in, look at Kazuba, look at that Capella boy, Jack to the gills.
So this is what we're going to, like, how are those guys getting past then?
It's a piss test on the day.
On the day?
On the day. It's the easiest thing ever to pass. Like, if I wanted to go on steroids and had no morals about me, I could easily do it. Like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be fair on everyone. I'd be too good. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine me on steroids. Like, it wouldn't be fair. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. And I think PFL were like, kind of like, oh, do us a favour. You know what I mean? Because they had Andreas Binder make weight because he missed weight for the mark fight. So he owed them. They were going to get Shanks to come in and do the alternate for the bantamweight. He owed them because he fucked up. And I'm kind of sitting there going,
I've done everything.
I don't owe you anything. My mad died and I fought 3 weeks later. I was like, when I should have been at home with my sisters and my nanny, I was getting ready for a fight in Newcastle because I didn't want to pull out. Not because I didn't want to pull out for myself, but I still could have. You know what I mean? Was that not a favour?
I don't think anyone would have held that one against you.
No. And I was kind of like, is that not a favour that I done? And then, bear in mind, I've done 3 fights for you on the trot with a broken hand. I think people forget that. I've been doing all these fights.
Well, we know that because we're in the gym with you, so it's maybe different for us.
So maybe I'll get that flip. They owe you.
That's what I was like. I was like, you was on me. I was like, I'm a company man. I come out and I sell myself. I talk
and do your job. I'm just going to say, you do your job, eh?
When I come on the week, I get 3 pages of what I have to do. Everyone else, it's a single page because I've got so much media requirements. At the end of the week, James will go, weight made, media done. Just for me, because there's so much media. He sees it. Like, he's like, fuck, they just run him with. Like, you know what I mean? I don't mind it. I like talking. I'm funny. Like, you know what I mean? I get him a bit of a character and stuff. I know they want me to be Conor, I ain't going to be Conor. You know what I mean? I'm going to be me.
Do you
know
think that's the direction they're pushing you in?
It's the direction they push any Irish person in. They just want everyone to be Conor. It's just how it is. Like that's the sellable thing. When Bellator came along years ago and offered us the contracts, offered me, James and Peter, offered John the contract to give. He was like, we want the next McGregor. So give us whatever guy we can mould into Conor. We're going to give him easy fights and we'll build him. That was the thing. Went to James Gallagher. That was the contract he got. You know what I mean? But it was up for grabs between me, Peter and him. Kavanagh gave it to Gallagher because he was his boy, whatever. It should have went to Peter. But the terms of the contract was, you talk and do your shit and we'll
do the rest.
We'll
feed you cans.
You know what I'm saying? Until you can't get cans anymore. You know what I'm saying?
But then that was a bit of a backfire for you in France when a lot of people probably won't know this unless you've spoke about it, but you were pretty much made weight, still in the process of cutting, and then dragged about Paris to get pictures. Had you just made weight?
So
and you hadn't rehydrated properly?
Well, it just made weight. It wasn't. I think my whole refuel on that, because I wasn't working with P from Condition Nutrition, who I'm working with now, and I went into the clinch a little bit too early with the big juice head, like. But I did batter him for 8 minutes. You know what I mean? You can't look at that fight and say that I didn't, like. You know what I mean? And then I was kind of, they dragged us around on weigh-in day. But they had done that twice, so we had made weight, and then they dragged us around Paris for like 5-6 hours after. And we were just in the car, we couldn't eat around. That fucking Polish fuck had it, Kazilba boy was smart as fuck. He had a big fucking lunch bag with him. I nearly felt like robbing him just to eat his food, like, you know what I mean? He was like, that maybe did affect the refuel a little bit, but to be honest, I'm not blaming that and that.
I know you can't blame that, but as a
they haven't done
athlete,
that since.
But as an athlete,
it was
it's very unprofessional to before, after that's they sort of hours prior to weight cutting and after weight cutting. They're for you.
The one day you shouldn't be doing that, and it's a Friday. You know what I mean? And that's what I said to them after that. And then they didn't do it again, to be fair. So I think they were just more. It's their first time in Europe. They're probably it's a different set of guys running it. But I was like, you can't do this to the guys. So the next time they came to Dublin, we didn't do that. They done everything during the week, and I was like, cool, these are learning. That's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe that did affect me, but.
You gave some very blunt interviews. I think it was a Dublin card. You had young Stephen with you.
Yeah.
And I think this gained you a lot of, people saw a lot of insight into you. Whereas, like you say, you were being pushed to be this Conor McGregor character. And I don't want to compare you to him, but you are an outspoken, confident, you do have the same style of persona, but you also have your own take on it where you're willing to say, look, if you're a young guy, don't be doing this. You were very blunt in saying, MMA is not what you think it is. The cold reality of it is this. And obviously young guys like Stephen were able to, you were in the position where you were able to say, look, this is some of the stuff they want you to do. Going back now, do you feel like that was a negative way to approach that interview, or are you glad you spoke so openly? Like, do you sometimes think maybe I should have played the game a bit, maybe I should have been there? Because I know you're a company man and I know you do your job for PFL, and it blows my mind that they don't want to me, I couldn't believe you weren't on the PFL Glasgow card, and I'm not just saying that because I'm your friend.
I think I would have made it. You know what I mean? I think I would have made it a little bit better.
Do you think that honesty sometimes could go against you with a big company?
Fuck it.
I don't care.
I'd rather stand on my morals and stand broke than stand there sitting there like a little company bitch just down as I'm told.
And do you still feel that way about young guys and getting into MMA and the harsh realities of it? Do you think a lot of them aren't being...
No, they're not being told. They're being told that this is going to work out great for you. You're going to go and do this. You're going to go and do that. They're not even being told. They're just being like, follow your thing. Like, whereas I'm sitting there going, it's not what it looks like on the outside to the inside. I don't know. It's like, and the amount of work that you have to do to get here is astronomical compared to any other sport. And then when you get to there, you're still not going to get the most. Like, if I put the amount of time and effort into any other sport and got to it, even if I done it in anything, if I was a plumber, I'd be making more money than I am now. I mean, if I had went and done a trade in school, I'd be on better money now. Wouldn't be as happy, probably. You know what I mean?
Certainly
not as happy.
Certainly.
Wouldn't be as in free control of my life and stuff. But it's the point that I would be better off financially, kind of thing. That's a bit fucked up, isn't it? Because if I think about it like a championship footballer, they're on good money, but they're shy. You know what I mean? Like, not that shy, but they're not that good. Whereas if you want to compare MMA if you want to compare PFL to the championship football PFL league kind of thing, instead of the Premier League is UFC, let's just call it that. Like, we should still be on quite good money. You know what I mean? We should all still be on really good money. And I think kids are looking at it from the outside think that they're going to be on that money. You know what I'm saying? So I was at a Cage Legacy show in Dublin, a guest for you, bring me in, and all the kids come up to me and
And of course they do.
Dale. Hey kids, he's all right. Ah, Dale, you're great, whatever. Yeah. What are you going to do when you're older? I'm going to be a fighter. And I'm like, yeah. Do you think I'm loaded? And he looks at me and goes, yeah. And I go, I should have loads of money in my bank account, shouldn't I? And he's like, yeah, you'll be loaded. I go, how much do you think I have in my bank account? He's like, 50, 60 grand. And I'm like, yeah, no, but I whip out my bank account. I just open up right in front of him and turn it to him. It's a week after the fight. I have 6 grand in my bank. The kid's face just drops. Like, just drops. Like, it's as if I'm after telling him Santi isn't real. You know what I mean? And he is real. He is real.
My daughter's going through this just now. Somebody
He's real.
told her he's not real.
Look, milk mommy and daddy for whatever you can. He's real. All right. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, just telling them this, but that face dropped. I didn't feel at all bad about that because I was happy because I was sitting there going, someone isn't telling you this, but this is the truth. And you know what I mean? I was like, stay in school, do your things. If you want to still do this when you're 22, 23, 21, 24 even, there's loads of time to do it. Look at Gemma. Gemma's got into it at 34. I mean, I know it's a bit easier for her because she's a female and it's a smaller bracket and stuff, but still, 34, it's not that late.
Moving forward for these kids, do you think the sport's going to change? The financial gains of the sport are going to change? Because when there's more opportunities like the UFC, like PFL, like Bellator, maybe there's another promotion comes along, and then there's an actual monopoly on fighters. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. Like the same way footballers have it. I think it's a great way. Or am I just living in a bullshit world?
It's never going to happen.
And
It's not. The monopoly is too set in its way. And then you look at the way that this lawsuit was gone against the UFC. They don't have to change anything in their contracts. They just have to give it. They basically get to keep the same standard of practice that they've been using, which is vulture shit. Like, you know what I mean? They have you trapped in contracts. As well as having you trapped in contracts, they also control the rate. Because if they're only giving you 10 grand, why would PFL give you any more? You know what I mean? If they're the best and they're giving you this, they set the standard for that. Like, you know what I mean? Now you might get some boys that come along, like Paul Hughes, and they go and negotiate with the UFC, and then he comes to PFL, and PFL give him a little bit better money. But that's because UFC didn't want you. You know what I mean? It's not. Maybe they did want you. I don't mean it in that bad of a way. Like, as in,
But they didn't want you that much.
yes, you know what I'm saying? They weren't like Michael Venom Page. When Michael Venom Page came to them, they were like, we'll give you what you want, bro. Because you're going to sell. Like, we know you'll sell. So they were like, yeah, we'll do. But there's a very few people. If we went to the UFC now and I was like, I'm getting this on PFL, can you match it? They'd be like, who the fuck are you? Like, no, we have 10 and 10 for you, pal. Or you can go into this contender, says, do 5 and 5 and stay on your 5 for a couple of weeks. You want to do that? I'll take what you're given, kind of thing. You don't have the leverage.
You
know what I
do.
mean?
You do.
And that's the monopoly. And if they control that monopoly, then PFL don't have to do fuck all. And neither do one. And neither do Bellator, which is PFL. Do you get what I'm saying? And if another organisation comes up out of the blue, like all the other organisations that come up out of the blue, they'll try and beat the monopoly, but they're just going to end up bankrupt.
Yep.
ACB, World Series of Fighting turned into PFL because they tried to match it. And then it's like, I can't. You know what I mean? I just can't. Because as well as that, like, if you ask an average fan MMA, they're going to say UFC. Most people, not most people, but a lot of average shows don't know what PFL or Bellator are, just because they don't even know what MMA is. We go, do you know who Conor McGregor is? I'm like, I know who that is. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's just not there yet. And as well, if fighters accept it, like I am one of the few fighters who sits there and asks for more money. So even on this previous like negotiation, they tried to put me back to 5 and 5, and I told them I was retiring because I said I make more money in ASA. That was my exact response to them. Going, I am not working for a year and earning $30 grand, and then it's not even $30 grand, and then everyone around whatever is looking at me like I'm loaded, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm sitting there going, hey, I struggle to pay me rent the same every month as you, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get by, like, but it doesn't look like that from the outside. So I was like, nah, I'll retire, I'll go work in ASDA, I'll make 36 grand a year, and I'll be entitled to benefits. You know what I mean? No, keep it. And that's what then Dan Hardy came along and obviously was like, thanks Dan, me boy. You know what I mean? No, we can't let you go. We're going to give you this, this, and this. Is that okay, Dale? And I was like, that's a little bit better. That makes me happier. Like, you know what I mean? And I am on a nice bit of money now. Thank you to Dan. Like, you know what I mean? Only because of Dan. Dan Hardy is the man that made it easy for me. You know what I mean? Not many like people in the business like talking to me because I'm so like, you know what I mean? But Dan made everything smooth, talked for me. And he got me that reduced sentence with the Paris Commission. 'Cause they
How
wanted
long did they want to give you?
2 years.
Fucking
They wanted
hell.
2 years, 12 grand and a win back. And I was like, I'm retiring. I love that. I love the little retire. I'm retiring. I'm out of here. Thanks for the cheers.
Throwing your toys at the pram. I'm done. Had enough of this shit.
I'm done. I don't even like this anymore. I'm going home. Back to D1 and back to the flats.
It is a tough sport.
It is a tough sport.
The damage your body takes, the damage your mind and body take together, and then for, let's be honest, it's such a little
For pennies.
For pennies.
Well, you look at Sean Clancy. Everyone, if I go, how much do you think Sean Clancy made for his last week? 5-6 grand. Like on Cage Warriors, 500 quid, mate. Maybe a little bit more because it's Clancy, but he didn't make that much, the poor kid.
I had people asking me in a TikTok live the other night, like, how much do the Cage Warriors guys get? I'm like, if I told you,
wouldn't
you'd
believe
swear I was lying.
Yeah.
I remember getting, for my first fight in Bellator was £900 and I had a bonus of £200. But medicals were like £1,000.
And bear in mind, they're still owned by Viacom at that point. A $5.3 billion company, and they're giving you nothing. Is that not insane?
I got 300 quid in a train ticket for Cage Warriors.
No. But how can you...
Let me keep the gloves, but
That's lucky. That's
I
lucky.
know, mate.
How can you tell me that you can only give me 900 quid when you're worth 5 million or something quid? Like, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what I mean? At least if you're gonna fuck me, bring me for dinner before you fuck me. Like, you know what I mean? Just a little steak dinner, then I'll take up the shorts and you can just ride me. You know what I mean? But like, at least bring me for dinner first. You know
I
what I mean?
then went to fight for the title, and I made a straight £1,000 with £500.
And I know what you felt like. An absolute dawn because you were getting paid that, and then your medicals.
But it'd be the same again. The medicals, and they're like, oh, you need a brain scan, and you need this, and you need that, and then it's like, yeah, I made £1,500, but I didn't.
You are all welcome for that, and anyway, that's all because of oil and all them brain scans.
Aye.
The JL
Well, I was meant to
JL
fight.
Carvalho fight.
I was meant to
Charlie
fight
Ward.
Chris Fields, remember?
Oh yeah, I know.
I was meant to
You
fight Chris
cheeky little bastard.
Dylan
yeah.
mentioned it in the car.
I had a run in with most people in MMA, but
I even had a run with you after that. Me and you went at it on Twitter after that because I thought, what was his name? Jack Grant. I thought Jack Grant was your teammate at the time. I battered Jack Grant in the gym.
Aye.
And I was like, shut up, you all left early because I battered your teammate. He's like, I wasn't even with Jack Grant. I was like, so what? You all got battered anyway. Get out of here.
It's funny though, the length of time, Dylan, you've been around. And again, we said this to Mark Ure only a couple of weeks ago at 27.
I'm 16 years in it now.
That's unreal for that.
you're longer in the sport than me.
I'm training since I'm 12. 16 years.
That's wild, isn't it?
That's what people don't get with me. And I'm training with good people. 16 years.
But that's what it has
Every
to
single
be.
day.
Every single day. I
3-4
didn't start at
hours.
SBG now, but I started at another local gym that had a really good coach, Shane Thomas. He was a Kyokushin black belt and a judo black belt. And he was very good. He fought Owen Roddy. Owen mashed him, but like he was a great coach.
See the striking coach at SBG.
Owen Roddy, yeah.
yeah.
Owen's the reason why
I
I
had
got
to
onto the
just
fight
think,
team and
yeah.
all. Me and Owen were like that. So that's where I get my knee from. Owen, like I've really good, Nuke is my nickname. Nuke comes from my knees because I've really good knees to the body. I got off Owen. John didn't want me on the fight team because I was a little townie. He didn't like me because
What do you mean when you say that, a townie?
I went from D1. I'm a
Mouthy.
scumbag.
Mouthy.
Like, I'm a scumbag.
right,
I'm a scumbag. I come in my tracksuit. But like back then you have to remember I had no money or nothing. Like so I had one tracksuit, 2 tracksuits. I had no clothes. Like whatever my nanny could get me, she got me once a year. Like I had no money. Like I was fucked. Like you know what I mean. And that's why Paddy and Ash were great. Paddy and Ash used to give me clothes. Like, they used to give me the hand-me-downs or hand-me-down training gear. Ash, I remember one time, came back from America with 120 like euro worth of clothes or pound dollars after the tough finale. Gave them to me, gave me more training gear because she just knew how broke I was. And that was her saying thanks for helping her. You know what I'm saying? So and I wasn't posh, and it was from the south side. I'm from the north side in Dublin. So he was just used to nice young fellas. Like all Southsiders in Dublin, a lot of them think they're rough, but they're all posh. You know what I mean? And they'd have me on. He wouldn't bring me onto the fight team. Like kept telling Owen no, and Owen's like, he's battering everyone upstairs. Like he's battering all your fighters in the striking class. Like he's dropping everyone. Like he was like, you need to get him onto the mat. Like he's fucking good. Like Kavanagh brought me onto the mat one of the days. I done all right, and then from that day I kind of just stayed. Like you know
What
I mean?
age were you when you got onto the fight team?
16.
16.
It's young, eh?
It's because
It's
of Ash.
young, mate.
Because of Ash though, it's the same size as Ash, so Ash could beat me up. So she
It's
just,
a good body. For
she was like, Dale, do you want to come do these rounds? Her and Artem came up one series. Ash comes up one day and she looks at me and she goes, Dale, you coming downstairs to do rounds with me and Artem? I like nearly pissed all over myself and had a heart palpitation. Ash was like I looked at Ash bigger than Conor. So when I seen Ash and Conor together, I was admiring Ash. Because she was the first person I seen. She was on Dorothy Sanchez and all, choking them out and all back in the day.
I remember that.
She was a gangster, pink hair, little 5'2" girl, but the nicest person in the world. I loved her. To this day, I still love her. Like, my heart bleeds for her. Like I seen her on the weekend at PFL and Sean and all were talking to her. And then it came back to me. Ash was like, so apparently you just talk about me all the time. And I was like, pretty much. I was like, any good life experience or any good knowledge I have come from Ashlyn Daly. Like, you know what I mean? She's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And she got me on. She was like, come on, get the body in. I was like delighted. The next week, Artem came upstairs. I was in class on a Wednesday, it was, with Roddy. Artem comes upstairs. Dale, you want to come do 5-5s with me? Yeah. Jump into the cage, get battered by Artem for 5-5s. And then me and Artem are besties then. Like, you know what I mean? Artem used to bring me Fernando's, bring me out for food, drop me home. It'd be like half an hour out of the way of him, but he wanted me to get home safe. Artem was just a man, like, you know what I mean? And then I just got in. Chris Fields used to call me the defender of the old school. Because I was like, all these new kids were coming through that all just wanted to be Conor. And then there was me. I was just old, hardy, tough as boots, just me.
Held
like,
on to your authenticity, eh?
Well, because I had to. Because while all the other young fellas weren't getting called on that bullshit, if I done anything, I was getting called on me bullshit, like, you know what I mean? And like, I remember very specifically, and I think we done a podcast with Peter Queely before, I was getting out on me. I was getting a bit big for me boots, if you would say. You know what I mean? 18-year-old, 19-year-old, oh shit, I'm doing real well. I'm beating up all these amateur males. I'm the best in the country at amateur. I'm the shit. Peter comes on. Deal. I'll do 5-5s in the cage on Friday. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Poked around, bet around. Little pat on the head at the end of it. You all right, lad? And I was like, yeah, all good. Pat. Good lad, tough boy. Okay, that was to let me know. And it was good. It wasn't a bad hiding. Peter never gave me a bad hiding. Peter never hurt me brain. I never went home with a headache after Peter. He just made me technically smash me, which is what I needed. The next week I come back, better rounds. The next week, better rounds. The next week, better rounds. You know what I mean? That makes it. You need that. You need someone there to be like, you're getting the better of everyone here. I'm going to put, now you need to move up. You need to come up to us now. Like, you know what I mean? So he dragged me from the kids. And now all I sparred with was Conor, Peter, Artem, Luke Jelcic. They were my rounds. I was in with the big boys now. Like, you know what I mean? Philip Mull, Peter.
And is this for 16?
17, 18. You know what I mean?
It's big names though.
The minute I started getting a little bit bigger, so the minute I hit about 70 kilos, the big boys started to take me. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you have advice for somebody who's coming up? Be them from the streets, be them from a privileged background. Do you have advice for somebody? For anybody out there that's listening?
No, do you? I don't advise no one and nothing. I'm just a little dope. You know what I mean? Like, I've no advice. If you're in the sport, I would say go to school. Have a second plan. That's all. Just have a second plan. Whether it be you're going to be a builder, a joiner, a plumber, you've went to culinary school, you've came out, you've went and done a trade, you've went and done anything. Whatever. Just have something behind you. So at the end of it, if it does all fall to piss, you're not sitting there going, I have to start again. That's my biggest fear. So I have to start again. So when I finish all of this, if it doesn't all work out when I'm 34, 35, I have to go again. I have to go, all right, I have to go back to school. I have to go do something. I can definitely do something in college or something. I'm not saying...
No. Like, I think you're underselling yourself.
I know,
think so too.
I know, but all I'm saying is it's better to be like this than to think everything's going to work out.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I put it forward to the kids. I'm not saying don't do this. And like, I had like fucking stupid little Danny McCormick coming on thinking she was talking shit. Lucky she didn't get slapped. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not saying this to deter kids off doing the sport. I love the sport. It saved me life. I'm just saying it just so they have more. Just so they're not depending on the sport. So the sport isn't at all. Does that make sense? So
absolutely. Makes perfect sense to us.
And that's all I say it for. And I'm just like, I'm just saying it not to be a dick and not to, don't do this. Don't ever do this. I'm just like, just think. Be smart. Imagine.
Have a second plan. This is the second plan.
Yes.
MMA is the second
plan. Exactly. Imagine you blow your knee out tomorrow. You're out for 12 months. Maybe longer. What are you going to do to make money? Like, you know what I mean?
So, as you're saying about like, for you, what you do, you're clearly going into the world of coaching. Some of the best lessons
it makes sense, still.
Some of the best lessons I've had in the gym.
Did I get embarrassed, mate?
Like,
I don't want to.
Striking. No.
Why?
I see James Doolan.
I'm
He
going.
has set a new bar for me that I look at him. Like I was okay. So say last night we done a class, and he does the exact same thing I done on Friday, and it's just 150 times quicker than I explained it, and better than I just let him you. Better than I explained that, and I hit him there, and I go, I showed that on Friday. He looked at me, goes, yeah, and I go, just about 50% shitter, but I showed it, like, and he just started laughing at me. But I see how much he has to give to his guys. I just don't think I can give that. You know what I mean? I'm quite selfish in my own sense. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but as in like he just is so like hands on with everything that you can see that he doesn't have much else in life other than fighting. Yeah,
time. You've got age. He's older.
I'd love to help him.
There and done that.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't really look at it like now. Maybe me and Reid take up the battleship and we help out Captain one day. Like, you know what I mean?
It's a bit unfair for me because I've had you come down, get me through a weight cut, which we cruised, get into a fight, corner me, which if you go back and watch that fight now, you can hear the commentators like, you can hear Cooper's coach in the back. Like, there's no doubt that this comes quite naturally to you. And there wasn't one bit of advice you gave in that whole, like you talked through the whole fight, and you can see me changing, making the adjustments all the way through, like stop doing that now and do this. It clearly comes naturally to you on top of having a big knowledge.
16 years, it's not natural, so, it's just hard work.
But,
you know what I mean?
But so what I'm saying is though, it's easy for people to listen to you. So why, like for you to say as if you basically, no, I can't do this person does it better. But we were doing it just fine.
I know, yeah, but he's so good. I know, he's just so good. Like, you just sit there and look at his class and you're just like, I know nothing, I'm a peasant. He's just so good, like, you know what I mean? And I just, mate, look, James tells me I'm a great coach, which makes me a little bit better. I'm just a bit harsh on myself because I see him.
You are very harsh on yourself.
I just see him and he's like the pedestal of where he has it. It's just like, I'm just like, you're so good.
But I'm sure James is still learning too. If you were to ask him, like, do you still learn things?
Well, the funny thing,
you see him reading books.
He
was reading a rock climbing book.
He's no limit, no ego to it.
Why would you be reading a rock climbing book, James? And he's like, the way they train for the Olympics or an actual competition, he's trying to take little pieces from rock climbing to bring into your world.
I've seen him a few times sharing passages. I asked him, I'm sure it was I'm going to fuck up. I'm sure it was to do with somebody who was the manager of Barcelona, but basically what he was doing.
Pep Guardiola.
It was, wasn't it?
It was about if looking back at if they weren't upset when they
on the bench. What were they like when their teammates scored? Aye, and I asked him about that because I found that unbelievably like the amount you have to watch is huge.
Aye.
And so maybe that is quite daunting for, I know I couldn't do it because fucking mate, I'm terrible at even handing you the water if I was in the corner. I can't do it, but it probably is quite daunting if you're like, I'm wanting to make this jump into coaching because there's so much. And when you're seeing it from a person like James, you're obviously wanting to keep it at that standard. You're not going to want to be below that standard because you're used to this. Like to you, James's level of coaching is normal coaching.
Aye, pretty much. Well, not really, because like even like I've been around a lot of great coaches in the sport, but he's outdoes them by a million. Like, you know what I mean? Because like a lot of coaches always have family time, always have time where they have. He still makes time for his family and all, but it's like he has everything with the gym, so
he's
it's like
there
I'm there all the time. Yeah,
he's there for about 10 o'clock.
Yeah, there's no time off, and even when he's going home, he's texting you as well. Like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like you're always on the ball,
and got to watch everything.
And he's got to watch everything.
And he runs through a system. I've had a few different coaches in my time, and the way James structures his
6
sessions,
months,
it's like
it's not on the go.
Aye,
you're not coming in today. Oh, we're gonna do this.
Well, you're going
to learn this.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
It's prepped, and he's always changing it there and then if it's required
to make it work.
Like,
yes.
Listen, we're going to do it this way because I think this might work better.
Yeah.
He is a very good coach, but in the same breath, I think you're a very good coach.
I could definitely do something once upon a time. I just don't think. See the way like Ian Feenan and like Stevie and all go open their own gyms. I wouldn't want that. I want to be.
You'd want to be there.
I want to be higher level. I want to be.
Do you think that's a payback thing?
Yes. You know what I mean? He's given me a second lease at life. I don't want to. Like,
didn't even hesitate there. It was like, yep. No, I want to give that back.
Always like, well, yeah. So I like. So over the last like 10, 12 weeks, I've been a little depressed balling. Like Like I've been at home crying and upset and wanting to go home and see my sisters and stuff, and it's very hard for me over here. I'm very alone over here. I have all my teammates and stuff, but everyone has their own life. So it's not like I have my friends like I do back home, where I can just go across to the flats, I can sit with my mates, have a joint. It's not like that over here. I don't have that friendship over here. I'm on my own with my dogs. You know
and it's a little remote where you live as well.
Very remote in short. I don't drive. My own fault. If I drove, I could probably knock into James. He's only 5 minutes up the road. But that James will tell me I can knock into him at any time I want. But I don't want to annoy him. Like, you know what I mean? But I've been, with not having a fight and stuff, I was at home depressed, sitting at home crying, upset. Because when I'm over here doing nothing, I'd rather be at home doing nothing with my 2 little sisters. So even if I was doing nothing, I can still look at them and see them walking around. And, like, I get teary thinking about them now, like, because they're my life. Like, I love them so much.
Because you really are their...
I'm that dad.
Their male role model.
I'm like that dad.
Their
like,
father.
My little Mia calls me daddy sometimes. You know what I mean? And I do like, I'm not your daddy, I'm your brother. And she's like, but you like daddy? And I'm like, yeah, I act like daddy. And I love them so much. I cry myself to sleep sometimes because I miss them so much. Like, you know what I mean?
I remember being away with you and the amount they're FaceTiming all the time, they're texting all the time.
I'm always on the phone to them.
And for me as a father of a girl, and Paul's the same, he's 2 daughters. Even I'm getting a bit like,
you know what I mean?
I saw it straight away. And I always, every Father's Day, I always post this. There's a lot of guys out there who are filling the father role and it might be a big brother, an uncle, a cousin, whatever. So for me as well, that's another, I didn't really want to go into this unless you did, but it's another facet for me, which gives you that extra level of respect for someone like me. Like, this is a man who can just, you said earlier you were very selfish, and when you said that, it actually annoyed me a bit, because I was like, that's just absolute shite.
I was selfish until the day I was seeing Layla.
Aye.
The day I was seeing her was the day I fell in love. I've only ever been in love once before that. And when I seen Layla, I just...
Do you feel a bit of guilt coming over to Scotland, being away from your sisters?
When I first left, I did. And especially when I don't have a fight, because I'm kind of like, I'm over here for no reason now.
I could go home.
I could go home and be at home for 6 weeks. Like the way, I don't do camps the way Shanks does. Shanks comes up and does 12 weeks. I don't do that. I'm here 4 years. Like 4 years in May, I'm here all the time. I rarely go home. I do go home to see my family. I'm going home in a couple of weeks to see them, which I'm ecstatic about. My sister's counting down the days. Like, so she's every day, she's like, 9 more days and I see you. And I'm just like, I'm delighted with that. But my big thing is, if I'm not fighting, I'd rather be at home, not fighting with my sisters. Like, I think people forget, I retired from this just to look after my sisters. Like, my sisters are in an awful lot of trouble. Not in anyone's business whatsoever. And I had to basically just take the reins of being a dad. And I fixed everything. And then my nanny came along and we all fixed everything. And now my 2 little sisters are 2 little posh fuckers. You know what I mean? They get everything they want. And my nanny looks after them. She's the best woman in the world. But I just miss them sometimes so much that I don't have a lot in life. I don't have a lot of people around me. I don't want people around me. I don't like people. I don't like humans. Like, I'm very selective of who I like. And if I like you, I don't really consider you a human. Like, you know what I mean? You must be some kind of alien. Like, you know what I mean? I don't really like too many people outside of the sport either. You know what I mean? People who I attract to.
They're unrelatable.
Yes, they're civilians to me. My best friend Dara says this to me. He's like, what, you think you're from Nam or something coming out
Dara's
of combat?
a great guy. I love that.
Dara's like, what, you think you're some Nam victim coming out of combat? And I'm like, I am. You know what I mean? I'm a soldier. Like, you know what I mean? I've never looked at myself as anything else. So when I just get down and when I, like what Khabib said, no training, depressed, you know what I mean? And then I just yearn for them because they're my safety net, you know what I mean? So when I didn't have to fight like I thought I was going to have, I was just sitting at home not doing nothing. But I also don't want to go in and train and get hit because I don't want to take any more damage on my brain. You know what I mean? I know the lads don't need me for that sparring because they have all the boys there. So I know they don't look at me and go, oh, you're not coming in for us, because they know Dale's at a different stage. Like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of thinking, I don't want to be retarded. Like, no offense, I don't want to be fucked. Like, you know what I mean? When I'm older, as in, I've taken too many shots and I don't know me sisters' names anymore. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be at that. And I just know by how much damage I've taken growing up in the sport, as in sparring. You know what I mean? Because like you spar to the death. I was always sparring to the death. I didn't know anything else. You know what I mean? And that adds up. So it's not the damage in fights, it's the damage in the gym. So I try and not spar.
Well, that's where you take it all.
Well, I don't spar now unless I have a fight. So I haven't sparred in like 15, 16 weeks since I battered mouse out. Like, you know what I mean? Dogged.
It's nice to hear you talk about your sisters and be that positive role model. And yeah,
I think you sell yourself short,
you,
Dylan.
you massively do. That's what I'm going to say. Like,
Yeah.
you should.
People expect less.
No,
People also think I'm stupid. Works out well.
I don't know if they think that.
No,
I don't know if they think
I
that.
played a game. I am.
How long's that? An hour and a half. Oh, fucking hell.
I can talk.
I know. We'll wrap it up there because we've obviously got another two podcasts to do.
Yup, the boys.
I know. Dylan, it's been an absolute eye opener listening to
Very insightful, mate.
Your journey. As Ross said, every single one of these episodes is totally different, but it's massively got the same theme. Dylan, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you for having me on, boys. Pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Can't wait to do it again.
I've been wanting out for ages. If you ever need a tour body fashion, just give me a shout, yeah.
Guys, if you're looking for a Dylan Tuke dethroned t-shirt,
It's gorgeous. Look at it.
yes.
Only 3 or 4 fighters have ever had custom made t-shirts made by the
By
champ.
dethroned, so
Conor McGregor being one of them, Benson Henderson, and then we won't tell the other Irish fella because he's a fake rat.
if you're looking for them, we will put a link in the bio.
It's you, Ian Gary. You're the fake rat.
I wasn't going to poke at, but have you got any sponsors you want to thank, or MD you want to thank?
Only always Detron. Since I'm 19, since
They've looked after you.
day one, when they offered to make me this t-shirt, I cried. I was literally like, I don't think people realise how emotional I am. Like, I'm a real soft guy, like, you know what I mean? So when they made me that, I like got mad teary, and I was, I don't take any money off it. So anybody paying, it's 40 quid including shipping and stuff for the t-shirt. I don't get anything off the money. I don't want anything off the money. I'm just happy to be
Part
branded,
of the brand.
branded by Detron. They gave me a big shout out on the oak. It's beautiful. You know, Dan swimming in his top boy. A little bit of Irish in him. So just Detron and Hoyle.
So guys,
and Papa Pizza in D1 Dublin if you're ever gone. Best
Papa
pizza
Pizza.
spot. Papa Pizza. D1
you've no sold D1 to me, so I don't think I'm going to.
D1 is the best place you'll ever go. As in the people around it, as in like me.
See if I wear a t-shirt, do I get like a pass?
You get a pass.
You probably get hopped on quicker, to be honest. I was getting gay. And I'm like, sorry. Nah, you'd be grand. You'd be grand because you're Paul Craig, bro. You're gorgeous.
But if go and show some love and support for Dylan. Dylan, it's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Thank you, boys.
And look forward to the next year for you and see what PFL brings you.
Lots of money and
Thank you
hopefully
so
some
much.
belts.
Let's hope so.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers, mate.